3. Take me out to the ball game.
Harry Kalas was the greatest individual I've ever been associated with. He's just a superhuman being, and I was very fortunate to play my entire career with the Phillies and have Harry Kalas as the main announcer doing the games.
He meant something to everybody, and he had a relationship with the players that I'm not sure announcers have anymore that way. They have good relationships, but Harry had a special relationship. Harry's a regular guy, a good guy, a fun guy.
He called my very first home run as a major league player, and then he proceeded to bring the tape down after the game and hand it to me of his call, and I still have it to this day.
There was something about his voice that was playful, that was loving, but it was sincere.
Hard ground ball, great grab, Green. It's over. He's pitched a no-hit, no-run game, making the final out himself.
I guess the best way you can say it is you were watching a ball game with your friend, and he just happened to be the Phillies announcer.
ALC. Long drive into deep right center field. This ball is out of here.
People just, they gravitated to him, especially with the high hopes.
The silly old ant thought he'd eat a rubber tree plant. Anyone knows an ant can't eat a rubber tree plant, but he has
high hopes. He's got
High hopes. He's got high apple pie in the
Sky hopes.
You know, it's now been almost 13 years since he passed, and there are lots of people here who didn't have a chance to see him on TV, didn't have a chance to hear him on the radio. And so playing that song, it's meaningful for the fans who particularly didn't ever know him before he died, to understand who he is. They see him, they hear him, they keep his memory alive.
He is so much a symbol of Phillies baseball, of the summertime, the soundtrack of summer, if you will.
In my opinion, he was the Phillies. And the longer I knew him, the more you love them.
In order to be a great sportscaster, you really have to have a great command of the English language, which of course comes back to the Hall of Fame and what he did there. He asked my mother, what do you think I should really do for the speech? And she said, Harry, you love poetry, you've always been great at it, and I think you should write a poem dedicated to the fans.
This is to the Philadelphia fan, to laud your passion as best I can. Your loyalty is unsurpassed. Be the fightin's in first or last. We come to the park each day looking forward to another fray, because we know you'll be there. We know you really care. You give the opposing pitcher fits, because as one loyalist shouts, everybody hits. To be sure in Philly, there might be some boos, because you passionate fans, like the manager, hate to lose. Your reaction to the action on the field that you impart spurs us as broadcasters to call the game with enthusiasm and heart. We feel your passion through and through. Philadelphia fans, I love you.
There was nothing more touching for my father than to really dedicate it to Philadelphia fans, who he got up and did what he did for.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
He's still here. He will never not be a part of the Phillies organization.
This guy goes down in the history of broadcasters being one of the best ever to have that microphone in front of him.
Harry not only was a gift to us, he passed on gifts. And he passed on his gift of a young man who we heard sing so beautifully last night. Please help us welcome Kane Kalas.
Not only is it passing of the torch, if you shut your eyes and just listen to Kane talk, you would think you're talking to Harry Kalas. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There's so many traits that I see in Kane that remind me of Harry.
The Phillies are really good at sort of honoring their past and keeping people involved. And the fact that Kane has decided to come back and engage with us is fantastic. I got to watch him grow up.
When he comes back here on opening day, I think you have that recollection of who Harry was and that he's always going to be remembered.
And then someone said, oh, he's going to sing the national anthem for us. I'm like, okay.
What a voice, good Lord. Like you look at Kane, you know, and I watched him grow up. You never thought that would come out of his mouth, the way he sings, but man, it is beautiful. And his rendition of the national anthem is spectacular.
It's a little bit of a flashback every time he sings or talks because the voice is just pretty distinct.
Kane Kalas, who has done the play-by-play for us and a couple of other occasions.
That was so much fun. I remember one of the times, though, it was Albert Pujols' rookie season. And so I'd never heard of him. You know, he's a rookie. He was a good rookie, but he was a rookie. You know, and I said,
now batting is Albert Pujols. Oh, that's a slam to left field. Pat Burrell makes the diving catch in left field to end the inning.
And I just got a decent amount of made fun of for that.
Kane, you won't have to worry. We're not playing the Cardinals today, so you don't have to worry about Pujols.
Music was so important to Dad, and that's the reason why when the Phillies win at home, you'll see, you know, my dad on video singing High Hopes. He really expressed himself, right? Not only through poetry, not only through words, but through music. For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The first time I saw and heard Kane sing, I should not have been surprised, I guess, because he's Harry's son, so obviously he can carry a tune. But when he came out with that basso profundo and just barreled out those lyrics, I thought, this is so special because it's not a copy of Harry, it's part of Harry.
And now I have the honor and the privilege of singing the anthem every single year for opening day. There's something very special by standing right next to my dad and looking up to him, as I always have.
It starts with the voice. You can see it, you can feel it, and I think that's awesome because the legend of Harry lives on.
He'd go out after the game with his friends, with some of the players, out to a piano bar, and he'd sing some of his favorite tunes. And I thought, what a better way to pay tribute to him than to make an album of the songs that I grew up hearing him hum around the house, that I grew up listening to him singing. Be a lady tonight. Luck, be a lady tonight. Luck, if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck, be a lady tonight.
Kane is so great and incredibly enthusiastic. I think it was almost 2 years ago when they first came to talk about this project. And it was a very eclectic mix. Then we met with Kane and started talking in detail about the music and the musical selections and the process of how to make unique arrangements for him.
It's always been important to him to, make his dad proud, and his dad liked these songs. And so it's really cool to see him put something together like this.
I love this kind of music. The musicians are phenomenal. The arrangements are phenomenal. And it's really a joy to be involved in this.
So when he starts singing, I'll give a downbeat at 54.
Kane had some fantastic ideas of the tunes that he wanted to do, but then he had some very specific ideas of things that he wanted incorporated into the arrangement.
The only thing on my ears was that bridge.
Oh, you'll hear it.
Okay.
And that's one of the joys of arranging and working with different singers or instrumentalists, is that you get to hear their ideas of what they would like to see happen in their music.
Ba-dum-bum-bum, crash, crash! And because I think yours were a little short, kind of like staccato crashes.
They were,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have someone who has clear ideas of what they want to have happen in the song. I just tried to find a happy balance. Kane mentioned that, okay, he doesn't want the band to play right here. Is there something else I could put in that would maybe dovetail with all of that? So it's a balancing act.
As we went on with the project, he had more and more ideas, and he would call with voice memos and sing things, and a lot of the stuff he sang to us, we actually put in the arrangements.
You make me feel so young. All of me. What else I love about it is I'm using all local talent. You know, it's a tribute to Dad, but also a tribute to the city of Philadelphia, which my dad loved and which I love.
I work with many of them in my own band, and bands in and around Philadelphia, and they're top players.
Well, I love the American songbook songs. That swing big band stuff is always a joy to play.
I grew up watching the Phillies, and just hearing his voice definitely is very reminiscent of Harry the K. When I first saw the emails about this and I saw Kane Kalas, I was immediately excited and honestly really honored to be called for it and be a part of it.
All of me, why not take all of me?
As he's doing this as a tribute to his father, it kind of reminds me of the songs that my father loved and I heard growing up, and really made me love big band stuff.
The High Hopes CD, something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, to pay tribute to Dad and to pay tribute to the city of Philadelphia. Take all of me.
Next time you're found with your chin on the ground, there's a lot to be learned. So look around.
Once there was a little old ant, thought he'd move a rubber tree plant. Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he had high hopes. He had high hopes.
Harry was very sentimental, and to hear that would bring him to his knees. I'm sure he's already heard it several times. There's a conduit from here to there, and when it comes to fathers and sons, I think there's a special radio frequency that's allowed Harry to hear that voice and continue to be proud of his son.
I think it's special. To me, it brings back our memory. I love Kane. I think he's a tremendous singer, and it's really impressive to me.
He'd be as proud as ever for his son. There's no question about that. He loved his family, and to see something like this transpire, I think it's great.
What greater way to honor your father than to record some songs that your dad always sang? I'm sure they heard it at home. It wasn't like Harry just saved it for us.
When you hear him sing, I can see Harry. I can hear Harry. That voice, it's in the family.
High hopes. He had high hopes.
A little different version of connection to the Phillies, obviously, but it's important. And it's also part of helping keep Harry's memory alive, too, is to have Kane here representing himself, but also representing his dad. It's part of the multi-generational connection of baseball.
I think Harry would be unbelievably proud because there's a part of Harry in Kane with his singing and all of the things he's doing. It's almost like Kane is following in his footsteps, and he's honoring his dad every step of the way.
This tribute to his dad, he'd be beside himself, no question. That's so cool. The love of what he's doing, I just think it's tremendous. I'm disappointed that I haven't gotten a copy yet.
Oops, there goes another problem, kerplunk.
Oops, there goes another problem, kerplunk.
Oops, there goes another problem, kerplunk. Kerplunk. I've been working on this album for a very long time, and the reason why is because I just wanted to do it right. The album is going to be released on opening day of 2023. So I'll be singing the anthem at the stadium. I'll be releasing my album. It's going to be a busy day for me.
He has been embraced by the city. The Flyers had Kate Smith, they have Lauren Hart, and to an extent, the Phillies now have Kane Kalas.
You could hear a pin drop when he sings. It's just the most beautiful voice. There's something about that tradition, understanding the history with the Phillies and who his dad was and what he means to the fans. Yeah, I'd never want an opening day without him.
As I'm working on this album, it was just so exciting, and it really made me want to take a second look at everything I'd done with the album.
I thought the season was very special, to be honest. This one, from the very beginning, opening day with that Schwar bomb.
And a high fly ball to right field. Piscotty's going back, and it is gone!
There were so many injuries and so much strife that they went against that the whole team banded together and were still able to make really great plays.
What an amazing time to launch his first walk-off home run. The Phillies win it here in the bottom of the ninth inning, 3-1. He was down to his final strike.
But then in typical Philadelphia fashion, you know, we're 22 and 29 in June, early June, and they fire, you know, Joe Girardi, and, you know, the world's crashing. But at the same time, you're a Philadelphia fan saying, I know, you know, we're not that good, you know, we're going to suffer. And then it was amazing. The team just instantly turned it around. They go on that, 8-game winning streak, and it just started to electrify, you know, the city.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's deep, it's going, yes! And it is gone! Yes! It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top!
When Bryce Harper hit the home run to bring us in the World Series, I was in the stands, jumping up and down with my partners, hugging each other, kissing and hugging people around me who I didn't even know. Then, in Game 3 of the World Series, which was the first home game, I look up on the scoreboard, and there's Kane singing God Bless America.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above.
Again, knocked it out of the park like he does.
And then at the end of the song,
My home, sweet home, our home.
It just was so awesome because he's a fan just like all of us. I was lucky enough to know Harry, and I know he was up there going, go get him, Kane.
There's really no better feeling in the world than singing God Bless America in front of a stadium of Phillies fans who all are rooting for the same thing that you are, and just to feel that energy.
I think Kane carries on his father's tradition, and I think that he brings it to a younger audience and a new group of people.
Harry was such a legend. His voice, just when you hear it, you're instantly taken to a happy time, and I feel like that's the way it is when Kane sings. I think the Phillies hit a home run with that.
Even if I'm on stage performing something else or in studio performing, it doesn't have the same feeling as being next to my dad at the ballpark, which just brings back these memories. You know, that's just, it brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to not only being with him at the stadium, but hearing his voice when he wasn't there, right? When I was at home watching the game, and I could just turn on the television and hear my dad. The fans' loyalty to my father, the way that my father touched them, I continue to hear about that and to learn about that every time that I'm here. And people come up to me and they have a story to share with me about how my dad brought them closer to their family, or about how in a time of need they just needed to take their mind off of anything. They could turn on the radio and hear my dad broadcasting the game, and it just made them feel peaceful. I mean, this is why I love doing this here, and to be honest, there's no other city in the world where I could be doing this and have that effect. It's really the Philadelphia fan who has that special connection to sports and of course to my father. I'm hopeful that, you know, my father's memory really brings back those memories of other people who have lost their father, and the memories that they shared, you know, listening to a baseball game on the radio with Dad or going to a baseball game with Dad.
The only thing that I'd like to say is,
We are all deeply and profoundly proud of you, Dad. I love you. Thank you.
Start to feel him low. Instead of letting go, just remember